Hello friends and welcome back to DM Tavern Gaming. Today we're doing something a little bit different than normal. This is Dustin and I have Matt here, and our favorite format is Commander. And so what I thought I'd do is we can start pulling out some of our Commander decks and kind of pinpointing out some of the things that make the deck tick, some of the cards that always come up that really make the deck stand out. And today I'm going to feature one of my favorite decks I don't see out there very often, and that's Zaxara the Exemplary. It came in a commander deck a few years back as a secondary commander. I think it's really fun. It's one of the only commanders that actually add mana to your mana pool. It also reads, whenever you cast a spell with X in its mana cost, create a 0/0 green Hydra creature token, then put X 1/1 counters on it. So basically every time you cast an X spell, you get another XX creature, which is really good, especially since he actually gives you mana himself. So there's a couple different categories we're going to go into. The deck is over here. I'm not going to touch on every single card. Obviously it has tons of X spells. But one of the things that you need in order to get those X spells really rocking and rolling is a lot of mana. So it's a very mana intensive deck. You're going to have a lot of searches, you're going to have a lot of mana rocks, you're going to have a lot of things that really get that mana flowing. Of course, one of the best of all time at really getting high quantities of mana is this Mana Reflection. It's always been a favorite. When it comes out, it seems like everybody just wants to get you right away because they know that you're going to be probably comboing off or doing something pretty soon or going crazy with it. It's not a very, you become the enemy really quick when this card is on the board, but it does create you loads and loads and loads of mana, and your X's get really ridiculous and you start getting some like 20 X spells out of it. Same goes with this Chromatic Orrery. I think this card is starting to get really discovered. It's really, really awesome, just because, for one, all your creatures are now monochromatic. You can cast pretty much any creature, even if you're missing mana of certain colors, because it produces, makes everything the same color. And it produces 5 mana. So that, in conjunction with like Mana Reflection, is like 10 mana, and then it just allows you to go crazy with some of the things you do. And then if you out of cards, you could just use it to draw cards. This is absolutely insane in any X deck. If you're casting a spell that isn't a creature, it copies that spell. If you're casting a creature spell, it makes that it doubles the X in that, so it really makes these huge creatures. As you start to get these wild XX creatures out, Selvala gets increasingly more wild, because you'll tap for 3 the first time, then 6 the next time, then 12 the next time, as they get increasingly bigger. So she's an absolute, must-have in a deck like this. This one's kind of off the wall. This and Freed from the Real are both ways to have your commander, which is always going to come out, create infinite mana. You slap this on there, tap your commander for 2 blue, untap it with one of them, and there you're off to the races, and you have a billion mana in your pool, and just a 2-card combo. Obviously, one of the best removal spells in the entire game right now, and it happens to have X in its costs, which makes it absolutely ideal for this deck. And not to mention, you're going to have huge creatures, and you're probably going to be able to wipe their board while maintaining your board with this card. Pretty underrated card. I end up frustrating a lot of people with this card. Just wipes out someone's hand and gives you, a large creature with this deck. So, Mind Twist is a classic all the way back from Alpha, Beta, but it just always tends to do really good work in this deck, especially if you're getting it on like turn 3 or 4 and wiping out their entire hand. This seems to be the #1 finisher in the entire deck. Start getting those X's massive, and then they just can't pay and they die. It just kind of ends the game right there. This is probably the most frustrating card for your opponent in this entire deck, because not only does it create X, you can pretty much, once you get it going, you can pretty much counter anything you want, but it also gives you another creature, and you can get it back, and you just continue to rinse, wash, and repeat. People just tend to give up if you really get this going. And this is, I think, a very underrated card, especially in this deck, just because you always end up casting it for 4 or greater, and it does so much work. It scry 1, draw a card. You get to get a 3/3 creature, or sorry, a 4/4 creature, and also get your X creature, so you're getting 2 creatures. And then they return a creature to their hand, so you're like 3 for 1ing that person. So in the early game, when your X's are a little bit lower, this card really does a lot of work. So just thought I'd highlight some of the better cards in the deck that seem to get it working really well. Glad you joined us today. Like and subscribe, and hope to see you soon. Maybe we'll do another deck tech pretty quick.
All right, thanks everybody.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.